I never thought killing someone could feel like slipping into an old pair of jeans, familiar, worn in, and just a little too tight around the gilt. But there I was, staring down the barrel of a .38 I'd bought off a guy in a Wrigleyville dive bar. My finger itching like it remembered the trigger pull from some forgotten war I didn't fight. The bitch who'd stolen my face, my name, my goddamn future. She was about to learn that Mackenzie Hale didn't go down without dragging the whole twisted circus with her. It started with that bill. $89,000. Slapped on my doorstep in a crisp manila envelope from Northwestern University. Addressed to Mackenzie Hale. Class of 2023. Except I hadn't set foot on that campus. Hell, I hadn't even finished community college back in Joliet before the accident that flipped my world inside out. My real life, a grind in a South Side warehouse, dodging forklift accidents and dreaming of something bigger than minimum wage and ramen nights. But this Mackenzie? She was Ivy League polished, sorority queen, daddy's little heiress. And somehow, she'd become me. The swap happened on a muggy August night in 2019, the kind where Lake Michigan's humidity clings to your skin like a bad decision. I was 22, fresh off a double shift at the distribution center, my beat-up Civic wheezing into the parking lot of that sketchy clinic on Halstead. Dr. Elena Voss, God, even her name tasted like privilege, had promised a life-changing procedure. Experimental neural mapping. She called it. A way to unlock potential for underprivileged kids like me. Sponsored by some tech pharma giant out of Silicon Valley, but with Chicago roots. Voss was the golden girl. Yale Med School. TED Talk on consciousness transfer. Whispers of Nobel buzz. She picked me from a lottery, free money, they said. A scan. On up. And wake up with enhanced cognition. Sounded like bullshit. But the $10,000 signing bonus covered 6 months' rent. I woke up in a body that wasn't mine. Lithe, tan limbs stretching under starched sheets in a penthouse overlooking the Gold Coast. My hands, her hands, fluttered to my face, tracing cheekbones sharper than mine. Lips fuller. Skin that smelled like lavender instead of motor oil. Panic hit like a freight train. What the fuck? I gasped. But the voice was silkier. Educated vowels curling off my tongue. Monitors beeped softly. Voss loomed in the doorway. Clipboard in hand. Her smile clinical as a scalpel. Welcome back, Mackenzie, she said. Like we just wrapped a yoga class. Integration complete. You're in your upgraded vessel now. Upgraded? I bolted upright. Heart hammering. This wasn't enhancement. This was theft. My mind, my memories of scraping by on food stamps, of mom's cancer bills piling up like unpaid parking tickets, of the brother I buried young from a stray bullet in Englewood. This was crammed into a stranger's skull. And where was I? No. Where was she? Voss explained it calm as lake effect snow. Consciousness transfer. Your neural pattern overlaid hers. She's dormant. For now. Dormant. Like a fucking screensaver. The real Mackenzie Hale, the one born with a silver spoon and a trust fund from Hale Pharmaceuticals, was the donor. Her body. My brain. A symbiotic merge, Voss called it. But I saw the lie in her eyes. This wasn't science, it was a swap job for the elite. Hale Corp needed a clean slate for their princess, who was spiraling, addiction, scandals, a hit-and-run that pinned a pedestrian's death on some unfortunate intern. Me? I was the patsy. The nobody whose life they could erase. Betrayal burned first. Mom's voice echoed in my head. Don't trust suits. Kenzie. They got more pockets than a pool table. But Voss? She wasn't just a suit. She'd mentored me through the application. Late-night calls about breaking cycles of poverty. Turns out, she was Hale's fixer. The accident that killed my brother? Not so accidental. Hale's labs had been dumping waste in our neighborhood, and my bro stumbled on it. They silenced him, framed it as gang shit. And now, they were silencing me, erasing my identity to let their golden child run free in my skin. My story. I played along for weeks. Wore the Lululemon. Sipped oat lattes at Intelligentsia. Charmed the board at Hale Pharma's holiday gala. But inside, I was mapping the exits. Her files, Mackenzie's files, were the key. Hidden in a cloud drive behind two-factor auth, I cracked with a phishing email to her assistant. Pages of emails, redacted psych evals, a ledger of payoffs. The hit and run? Voss covered it, swapping the real driver, Mackenzie herself, with a fabricated witness. The pedestrian? A whistleblower on Hale's opioid push, laced with fentanyl to juice profits. My name was on the fall, forged docs making me the errand intern who'd taken the blame. And that college bill, racked up in my old body, which they dumped in a psych ward under my name. Doped on benzos. Living out the dregs while I footed the tuition for her ghost degree. Rage festered like an untreated wound. I started small. Anonymous tips to the Sun-Times about Hale's dirty dealings, opioid scripts funneled through fake clinics, bribing docs in Flint-level poverty traps. But Voss caught wind. She cornered me in the boardroom, her Botox smile cracking. "You're not her, are you?" she hissed. The merge failed. "You're." Residue. Residue. That word lit the fuse. I smashed her tablet, shards flying like confetti at a funeral. "Call me Residue again, and I'll show you what Chicago grit really means." She laughed, low and throaty. "You think you can touch us? Hale owns this city. Senators, judges, the mayor's golf buddy. You're a glitch in the matrix, darling." And glitches get patched. That night, I ditched the penthouse, drove her gleaming Audi south, past the glittering Magnificent Mile into the grit of Pilsen, where murals bled defiance and Ticarius hummed with real talk. Crashed at an old warehouse buddy's spot, a guy named Rico who'd lost his leg to the same factory that chewed me up. He didn't ask questions when I showed up with a duffel of cash and a haunted look. "Whatever it is, Mia, you need heat." Heat. Yeah. The .38 was his gift, oiled and anonymous. But revenge wasn't a bullet. It was a scalpel, slow, precise, carving out the rot. First move, the secret. Buried in those files was Voss's own skeleton. She'd botched a transfer before, some Wall Street ex-wife. Fried in the chair. Payout hushed with NDAs and a Swiss account. I leaked it to a podcaster in Austin. The kind who thrives on pharma conspiracies. Dr. Death 2.0. The episode dropped. Voss's face plastered on true crime TikToks. Sponsors pulled. Her TED invites dried up. She called me at 3 a.m., voice slurred on gin. "You bitch. This ends now." "Ends," I whispered into the burner phone. Rain pattering on the tin roof. "Baby, we're just warming up." Controversial? Hell yes. I doxed her donors next. Hale board members' home addresses. Mistress's nudes swiped from cloud backups. Not my proudest, But watching CPS show up at a VP's door for neglect while he scrambled to explain the nanny cam? Poetic. The decisions gnawed at me. Was I becoming them? Stealing lives to reclaim mine? Rico said it straight. Revenge is a mirror. Kenzie. You stare too long. You see the monster you hate. But monsters win wars. I infiltrated Hale's annual retreat in Door County, Wisconsin woods, where execs golfed and plotted price hikes on pills that hooked grandmas in trailer parks. Posing as upgraded Mackenzie, I spiked the keynote with a slideshow, projected on the banquet screen, emails chaining Voss to the hit and run, my brother's autopsy photos flickering like ghosts. Gasps rippled, forks clattered. Voss bolted for the podium. But I was faster, grabbed the mic. Voice steady as like steel. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the real Mackenzie Hale. The one you buried under your bonuses. The one whose family you poisoned for profit. Chaos erupted. Feds swarmed by dawn, my anonymous tip, laced with IRS flags on offshore slush funds. Voss vanished into the night, but not before I slipped a tracker in her Louis Vuitton. Led me to a safe house in Evanston, a McMansion disguised as faculty housing. That's where the climax brewed. Midnight raid. Me in black tactical from an army surplus in Berwyn. A .38 heavy in my pocket. She was packing, files burning in the fireplace, shadows dancing on her face like accusations. You think this fixes you, she sneered. Emerald eyes, my old eyes glinting. You're nothing without this shell. A South Side rat in a queen's dress. I pressed the barrel to her temple, close enough to smell her fierce sweat under Chanel. Tell me why. Why me? Her laugh cracked. Because you were perfect. Disposable.
And she.
Mackenzie needed out. The guilt. The crash, it was eating her. Transfer was mercy. For her. For us.
Us.
Hale's empire. The betrayal deepened. Voss wasn't just fixer, she was lover. Mackenzie's secret affair. Voss covering the crash to protect their twisted romance. My body, collateral in their escape pod. I pulled the trigger.
Click.
Empty chamber. Her eyes widened shock, then fury. You. Twist, I said, holstering the prop. Real heat waited outside, Rico and a crew of whistleblowers. Badges flashing. Boss's safe house? Wired for the Fed's live stream. Every word, every plea, broadcast to the cloud. But the real twist hit like a gut punch. As they cuffed her, Voss spat it. You think you're free? The merge was one way. Residue. She's been awake. Watching. In your old body. Rotting in that ward. That's her revenge. Living your hell while you chase ghosts. My blood iced. Flashed to the psych ward visits I'd faked, sedated eyes staring back. Not blink, but calculating. The real Mackenzie. Trapped in my husk. Enduring the debts. The dregs. The bill collectors pounding on barred doors. I'd swapped us.
All right.
But in her eyes, I was the thief. They hauled Voss away. Empire crumbling in headlines. Pharma princess's body swap scandal rocks Chicago. Hale's stock tanked. Senators scattered.
Me?
I walked into the dawn. Free but fractured. The $89,000? Waved in the settlements. But the weight lingered. Was I victor or villain? The woman in the mirror, her face. My mind smiled back. But whose smile was it? Ending? Call it gray. I cashed the lawsuit windfall, bought a brownstone in Bronzeville, started a foundation for neural ethics, but nights.
I dream of that ward.
Of her, me? Plotting in the shadows. Revenge circles back.
They say.
In America, it just spins the wheel faster. Who's to say who won? The Fed's cleanup took months. A bureaucratic waltz through depositions and NDAs that made Watergate look like a bar fight. I lawyered up with a shark from the Loop, Amir Khan, the kind of guy who sued Big Oil for breakfast and won settlements that funded his kids' Montessori. You're the whistleblower of the century. Hail, he grinned over falafel at a spot in Devon Avenue. But play it wrong, and you're the freak show. Freak show.
Yeah.
Tabloids dubbed me Body Snatcher Barbie, photoshopping her face onto sci-fi posters. Late-night pundits on Fox debating if I was victim or villain in the Soul Trade era. Soul Trade.
Cute.
Voss's tech wasn't magic. It was CRISPR on steroids. Neural lace jury-rigged from DARPA scraps. Ethical? About as much as fracking the Gulf. But America eats scandal like corn dogs at the state fair. Chew it up. Spit it out.
Move on to the next.
I moved on too.
Or tried.
The Foundation. Hail Echo, named for the brother whose echo I carried, funneled cash into clinics for low-income brain scans. Real ones.
No swaps.
We busted 2 underground enhancers in Detroit and Philly. Rings peddling knockoff transfers to desperate vets. Felt good. Righteous. Mornings. I jogged the lakefront trail from Hyde Park to the Museum of Science and Industry. Pounding pavement while gulls screamed overhead, pretending the burn in my lungs was absolution. But ghosts don't jog. Rico warned me. That bitch Voss? She's got friends in low places.
Low?
Try labyrinthine.
Hale parma rebrandet overnicht. Hale vitality.
Pivoting to wellness apps, while quietly offshoring the dirty ops to a lab in Guadalajara.
Voss?
Out on bail. House arrest in a Saugatuck cottage. Spinning her memoir to Penguin. Awakening, a doctor's descent into the human code.
Descent. My ass.
It was a victory lap. The controversial calls piled up. First, mercy for the real Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Her, the original, stewing in my old body at Cook County Psych. I'd visited once. Post-raid. Stealing myself in the lobby that reeked of bleach and broken dreams. She sat across the plexiglass. My old frame shrunken. Eyes hollow but sharp as broken glass. You, she rasped. Voice gravel from disuse. Stole everything. Everything. I leaned in. Our faces mirrors inverted. Your daddy's empire built on my brother's bones. You drove that car, high on coke from his product, and left a man bleeding in the crosswalk. I took the fall in here. I tapped my temple. Her laugh wheezed. Fall? You were nobody. Now look, princess in rags. Rags? This body was couture. But yeah, the psych ward had stripped her me. Bare. Debts mounted, that Northwestern tuition, plus back rent on a shoebox in Logan Square. Medical bills from episodes they pinned on pre-existing trauma. My trauma. Our shared hell. Decision 1. Pay it off. Amir called it soft. Let her rot. It's karmic. But karma's a luxury for the unbroke. I wired the cash anonymously. Covered the degree she never finished online now. Ironic. Felt like swallowing glass. But necessary. Betrayal's a two-way street. I wouldn't be the monster. Decision 2. Riskier. Infiltrate Voss's inner circle. She was regrouping. Whispers of a redemption tour. Podcasts. Wellness retreats. peddling transfer light as therapy for PTSD. Her lieutenant?
Dr.
Marcus Hale, Mackenzie's uncle. The schemer who'd greenlit the whole op.
Bite.
Bluff. With a Bears Super Bowl ring and a Rolodex of DC fixers. I posed as a grateful patient, finagled an invite to her Lake Geneva seminar. Reclaim your essence. The drive up was therapy in reverse. Interstate 94 snaking through dairy farms and outlet malls. My Maserati repossessed, then repurchased in the settlement, humming like a caged beast. Tension coiled in my gut, tighter than a White Sox no-hitter in the ninth.
What if she recognized me?
The merge left echoes, flashes of her life bleeding into mine, sorority chants at Rush Week. Daddy's Scotch breath at Christmas. The sick thrill of the crash. Tires screeching. The thump. Seminar was a circus. Yoga mats on a lakeside lawn. Crystal bowls chiming. Women in athleisure nodding like bobbleheads. Voss glided in. Reborn, blonde extensions. Caftan flowing. Voice honeyed. Trauma isn't a scar, it's a portal.
Portal to bullshit.
I cornered her post-talk. Amid the kombucha spritzers. Doctor, I said, extending a hand gloved in cashmere. Your work saved me. But I need more. Her eyes narrowed. Then lit, opportunity. Tell me your story. Over kale salads at the Hunt Club, I spun half-truths, a misfired transfer leaving me haunted. She bit. Hard. Marcus can help. Private session. But discretion. Costs extra, I quipped. Chicago's snark slipping through her polish. She smiled. Shark-like. Everything does. Marcus was the key. Dinner that night at his estate. Manicured hedges. Infinity pool overlooking the water. Staff in liveries serving venison from Wisconsin hunts. He was all bluster. Stories of blocking for Peyton in '85. Arm-twisting FDA suits for life-saving opioids. But under the blarney.
Fear.
Elena's trouble, he confided over port. Breath cigar hot. That leak?
Cost us billions.
And you. He trailed off, staring. Recognition dawned slow. Like a hangover. The residue. I didn't flinch. Poured him another. Laced with a roofie from Rico's Connect, pharma-grade. Ironic. Tell me the secret, Uncle Mark. The one Voss buried deeper than my brother. Slurred confessions tumbled. The swap was an accident.
Planned.
My lottery win?
Rigged.
Bros gang hit. Hail, wet work. Outsourced to a Serbian crew via Voss's European contacts. And the real twist? Mackenzie, the original, knew. Begged for it. She wanted out, Marcus mumbled, eyes glazing.
Guilt.
The man she killed? He was her prof. Lover. Blackmailing her over the dumps. Lover. The pedestrian wasn't whistleblower, he was scorned. Mackenzie's affair. Exposed. Threatening the heir's facade. Crash was murder.
Cold.
And I? The perfect vessel. My mind tough. Survivable. To puppet her life while she hid in mine. Plotting comeback. Rage surged. Hot as habanero. I left him snoring. Swiped his laptop. Password his wedding date.
Sloppy.
Files galore. Blueprints for mass transfers. Upgrading the underclass for elite shells. Hale's endgame. Immortality for the 1%. Bodies farmed from the projects. Back in Chicago. Storm brewing off the lake. I prepped the drop. Leaked to ProPublica. Timed with Voss's big reveal, a global summit at the Palmer House. Climax loomed. Tension thick as fog rolling in from the waterworks. But decisions haunted. Doxing Marcus's donors? It'd torch innocents, wives.
Kids.
Or go nuclear. Frame Voss for the roofie. Let her taste real residue. Rico urged fire. Burn it all.
Chica.
Amir? Caution. You're walking a razor's edge. Hero or hacker? I chose the edge. Hacked the summit stream. Voss mid-teddy. Droning on ethical evolution. My virus kicked. Screens hijacked. Marcus's files scrolling. Audio of his slurs booming. The residue. She wanted out. Pandemonium. Attendees bolted. Voss froze. Face crumbling live on YouTube. I watched from a dive in Wicker Park. Dive bar stool creaking under me. Bourbon burning meat. Her empire?
Dust. But mine? Cracking.
Call came at dawn. The ward. Mackenzie, original, gone. Slipped out in the night. My old body vanished like smoke. Possible suicide, the doc said. Or escape.
Tension peaked.
Was she coming? The real revenge? Dawn broke gray over the lake. The kind of light that turns the sky to slate and makes you question if the sun's just phoning it in. I hadn't slept, couldn't, with Mackenzie's ghost rattling chains in my skull. Original Mackenzie. Loose in my old skin. Debts cleared but vendetta fresh. The ward's cams? Doctored footage of her wandering into traffic. But I knew better. Chicago swallows runaways whole. She was out there. A South Side specter with my face and her fire. Foundation work ground on. Hale echoes first clinic ribbon cut in Englewood. A squat brick building with murals of neural webs and phoenixes rising from circuit boards. Cameras flashed. Alderman glad-handed. I smiled for the Trib photo. Her perfect teeth gleaming. But inside, the swap's aftershocks quaked. Flashes, her memories bleeding through stronger now. Unbidden. The crash in slow-mo, brakes failing, sabotaged. The prof's eyes wide in headlights. Pleading. Kenzie. Please, thump. Then nothing but sirens and Voss's whisper. We'll fix this. Transfer you clean.
Clean.
As if souls launder like offshore money. The betrayal layered deeper. Not just Hale's greed, but love's rot. Voss and Mackenzie. Entangled since med school internships. Voss the brilliant orphan. Mackenzie the trust fund thrill seeker. The prof? Threat to their bubble. Swap was salvation. Or so they sold it. Me? The sin eater. Swallowing their crime to spit out purity. Voss's trial hit like a Super Bowl halftime show. Cameras swarming the Dirksen. Protesters chanting, no more swaps. Outside. She played victim flawless. Tear-streaked. In a navy sheath that screamed reformed. I sought to heal. She testified, voice quavering just right. But ambition blinded me. Jurors ate it, Midwest nice. Forgiving the white coat. Marcus flipped early. Plea deal for immunity. Spilling on cartel ties and FDA bribes. Hale vitality folded, the old man, Mackenzie's dad, stroked out in his Gold Coast tower. Empire his pyre. I testified last day. Striding the stand in a tailored blazer. Her body's poise masking my tremor. They didn't enhance me. Your honor. They erased me. Gasps rippled. The judge. A grizzled Southsider with a socks pin. Leaned in. Elaborate. Ennis. Hale. I did. Hours of it. Files projected. My voice steady. Weaving betrayal's web. The rigged lottery. Brothers hit. The prof's murder pinned as accident. Voss glared from the dock. Eyes venom. Lies from a stolen mind. Stolen. I shot back, leaning into the mic. You handed me the keys, Elena, and drove the getaway car. Verdict: guilty. 20 to life. No parole. She crumpled, real tears this time, as marshals cuffed Silk.
Outside.
Rain lashed Michigan Avenue. I slipped into the crowd, anonymous in the downpour. Victory tasted like ash. But controversy brewed. Protests turned on me. Resident rights rallies in Austin. Berkeley kids burning effigies of corporate body thieves. Pundits on CNN split. Heroic survivor or opportunistic imposter? My foundation? Sued by Hale holdouts. Claiming intellectual property theft, my mind in their shell as violation. Amir fought it tooth and nail. But the stress carved lines in this flawless face, aging it toward truth. The decisions amped. 1. Confront the original. Tracked her to a flop house in Humboldt Park, boarded windows. Stray cats yowling. The air thick with weed and regret. Knocked at dusk. Heart thundering like bass at a drill rap show. Door creaked, there she was me.
Gaunt.
Tattooed arms, mine from warehouse days, crossed. Eyes feral. Residue, she sneered. My old gravel voice laced with her venom. Princess, I echoed. We stared. Mirrors mocking. No fists, words sharper. Why run? We could have split it, the cash. The truth. Split. She laughed. Bitter as instant coffee. You got the penthouse life. I got the bill collectors. The psych meds. Your mom's ghost haunting a grave I can't afford flowers for.
Mom.
The pang hit mutual. We shared that neural scar now. Swap's cruel gift. I paid it, I said soft. The tuition. The rent. Her eyes flickered gratitude, hate, trap. Keeps me small, while you play savior. Revelation cracked then, the twist inverted. It was you, I whispered. The leaks. The doxing.
You?
In there, pulling strings from the ward. She grinned.
Crooked.
Woke early. Watched you flail. Push the buttons, your buttons. Made you the monster. So, I'd be the martyr. Martyr. The prof's death? Her plan. Voss reluctant. Swap. Her escape hatch. Framing me as the fall girl from the start. I'd avenged the wrong betrayal. Hers was self-inflicted. A narcissist's loop. Deepest cut, I pitted her.
Us.
We talked till stars pricked the smog. No hugs, a nod. She vanished again. Rumors of Vancouver. A new identity in the gig economy.
Me?
Back to the brownstone. Foundation thriving. But sleep fractured. Climax echoed in quiet. A final file. Emailed anonymous. Voss's prison scribbles. Smuggled out. The merge was mutual. She chose you as much as we chose her. In the end, we're all swapped, victims in villains' clothes. Ending? Debatable as a cub's curse. Happy. Empire toppled. Lives mended, mine a mosaic of borrowed parts. But whole. Tragic, forever halved. Chasing wholeness in a city that chews dreams like gum. Readers argue in comments, justice or hubris. I scroll them sometimes. Bourbon in hand. Rain on the window. Chicago doesn't end stories. It remixes them. And in the remix, who's to say whose name's on the bill?